attendance. We do have 2 students receiving perfect attendance. We're going to honor them on June 3rd. Next recognition, we have 5 social studies teachers that will be recognized as Social Studies Teachers of the Year by Ms. Kelly Watt. The third recognition is, for the 3rd year in a row, we've been a platinum winner for district wellness for our employees. So very, very important part that we not only provide good health insurance for employees when they do get sick, but also we provide a program to prevent that from occurring, because prevention is a lot easier than a cure in most cases. And then we have our annual update from Clay County Education Foundation. So then getting into the actual consent agenda, we have first the minutes of the workshop from April 27th and the regular meeting was May 6th. Second, we have our membership dues for Florida School Board Association.
Mr. Roski, when do we renew the FADs? I mean, normally the two are there
FADS
together.
did not send us an invoice.
Oh, okay.
And so we are going to do that on the 24th board meeting after the invoice arrives. So apparently they don't want to get paid.
Usually they're together, so I thought it was odd we
I had it on there in anticipation of the invoice, and when it didn't come in the mail yesterday, I pushed it.
Right.
So we have that one coming up. So then we're up to the third agenda item, which is SentinelOne antivirus. This is an antivirus program that also has malware, ransomware protection. I don't need to tell you the importance of this if you watch recent news events related to people hacking computer systems in an attempt to infiltrate all kinds of organizations, but most recently in school systems. Broward County had a recent hack of their systems. This program is designed in order to mitigate that risk related to our computer systems.
And it's a 3-year contract?
Yes, ma'am. And there's no doubt the use of computers, and we've learned that this year, and how they're used, extremely beneficial to what we do as an educational institution, but also the importance of it and the security of it becomes even more of a concern as we move forward, especially with people's personal information. So number 4 is personnel consent agenda. Personnel consent agenda is going to be updated within the 48-hour rule, which is Tuesday, June 1st. I'll say openly that one of the things I love about being in the school system, the educational environment, is that you kind of have a year that kind of goes around in a circle. And every year, we're always excited at the end to close out the school year. But one of the things we always do when it gets to be this time of year is also prepare for the next school year. And it's kind of interesting that at least in my chosen profession and why everybody is here, that you have that renewal every year, which is important. On the June board meeting, it's our tradition to go ahead and reappoint our administrators at that point. And one of the things that we always want to do is, when we have administrative changes, we want to go out and talk to each one of those faculties. As superintendent, I've made it my mission to go out there and physically talk to every faculty that's having a change in leadership this upcoming school year. I intended, or I opened up and thought there would be very little changes, and of course there's a domino effect when one individual moves from one place to another that opens up another opportunity. One of the things that I'm most proud of and is the fact that we have quite a few of capable people that are going to assume leadership roles, and I'm excited about the new school year. I know we all want to finish strong this year, and certainly graduation is a culmination. It is the Super Bowl of high school, I call it. And so, but we also want to prepare for next school year. So all those faculties, I'll be out there this week talking to faculties, and also it'll be on the board agenda June 1st. And I'll also put an organizational email out to everybody in the organization telling them. I believe that every faculty should have the respect of knowing who their leader is for the next school year, ideally before you leave for summer break. So look for that to come forward in the near future. So with that, I'll move on to 5, which is Out-of-state travel. I don't see anything of concern there. Number 6 is the student progression plan. You know that each year we advertise and then approve after the 28-day period the student progression plan. They did an awesome job of providing a list of summaries on the page after the advertisement. When I looked at all of the changes that are there, most of those changes are not substantive of nature. They're more grammatical, word choice, those kinds of items that provide clarity to the student progression plan. So you can see all of those changes that are listed on the page right after the advertisement itself. That brings us to 7, which is the approval of the Florida Virtual School Curriculum. This is the curriculum that we use with our CVA students. You know that currently we pay anywhere from $43 to $85 per course. Now, I will say that the number of students that have taken CVA courses has increased significantly as a result of this past year with the pandemic. And so that is what that item is. It is the curriculum that we use. Number 8 is approval of purchase for Lexia Core 5 and Reading Lexia Power Up. This is a Tier 3 literacy program, one of the things I'm most proud of as we're looking futuristically to what's going to happen next year, as an increased focus, particularly with early literacy and literacy in general. You know that we have the adoption of a new set of standards that we've adopted K-12. We also have an additional textbook adoption that's in alignment with those. So a lot of exciting stuff. So in order to provide Tier 3 interventions and support for our intensive reading students grades 6 through 12, this is the program that can do that. It's one of the only programs that the state of Florida has approved, you know, on their matrix. So number 9 is Advanced Medical Personnel Services. This is speech-language services. You know that each year, we've brought this contract for the past 6 years. Each year, I will say openly that it's challenging to hire speech-language pathologists. Admittedly, that's because our pay scale is not as high as those folks would get on the outside in a variety of different experiences, whether in a rehab experience, elder care, etc. And so this is the contract that enables us to do that.
What do the numbers mean for the funding source? Is it a federal? It has funding source and it just has a slew of numbers.
No, yeah, it is the budget line, but it's general fund. The 100 represents general, if it's federal, say 4XX.
So why is it put there with numbers and not just say general fund?
It can, it's just for preference, whatever the board chooses.
We could change it to general fund.
Yeah.
Whatever you think, I think it's, you know, if somebody's looking at it, it's confusing.
They don't know what the numbers mean. I
And
agree.
we don't know what the numbers mean.
I'll say openly that
Only
we,
Dr.
Only Dr.
Legato
Legato knows
what
where it's
the
coming
numbers
from.
mean.
I'll say openly that we attempt to recruit as many people into those positions. It's kind of like nursing. It's the same sort of issue that we run into. I happen to know somebody that's close to me that serves on the board at several colleges in an attempt to recruit individuals to come and be part of our organization. So it is an area of focus. So number 10 is Western Governors University Student Teaching Agreements. This is a standard student teaching agreement. Number 11 is the Code of Conduct. This is the advertisement for the Code of Conduct. Each year we bring a Code of Conduct, and of course we have the advertisement, and then of course the approval after the hearing. There's a couple things I would call note to this item. After the advertisement itself, there's a listing of changes or summary of changes on the page after that. A couple things of note: cell phones, the cell phone language that the board had suggested in our discussions is included within this document. We believe that we captured that accurately. And also, you know, there's change to the discipline matrix, in which provides a little bit of flexibility as to how to handle each incident based on the unique nature of each incident, and that's located in the back. It also lists restorative practice. What are we doing in order to bring the student back to their environment? And so you'll notice those changes embedded within that document. 12 is the allocation changes for 21-22. You can see that there's a curriculum specialist from 10 to 11 months, and also a head of guidance supplement for an individual that's going to be in charge of the ACE program at Oakwood High School. 13 is financial reports. 14 is budget amendment. 15 is deletion of certain items. 16 is bid renewal, and this is a bid renewal for fresh delivered produce, and it's for Gordon Food Services. 17 is pre-qualification of contractors. 18 is a change order to the Tynes Elementary new addition.
When do we expect that to be completed? Before the start of the next school year?
Yep.
They've been building it during the school year, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's fun for the students.
18 is, or 19 rather, is substantial and final completion of Ridgeview Elementary's parking lot repair and replacement.
Have we upgraded all the parking lots at this point, or do we have many
How many more
more to
you
go?
got left?
There's a lot, this is just the beginning, I think we've only done, 7,
Oh, okay.
so it's a
It
ongoing
seemed like more.
process, trying to get the LED lights.
Right. Good, thank
And
you.
then the next item is the same thing for Oak Leaf Junior High School. And that brings us through the consent agenda and brings us to D1. D1 is public advertisement of a reopening plan that we're calling Phase 2 Smart Restart Reopening Plan for the 21-22 school year. To kind of start off this discussion, because I'm sure the board's going to have discussion on this, I'd like to first just publicly say how much I appreciate everyone that works within the organization for this school year. I have little doubt that Florida has led the nation in the reopening of schools. K-12, I have little doubt that Clay County has led the way in Florida related to that. So if you want to put those two together, I'm more than glad to do that for you. And say that Clay County's doing a pretty darn good job when it comes to the opening of schools. We should all take pride in that. That doesn't mean that, there's not bumps along the way. I think anytime you have 40,000 students, 5,000 employees, there's always bumps along the way. But our bumps in comparison to other folks were minor rumble strips were, along the way. And we adjusted well, okay? And overall, I'm happy to report it's a successful school year. I say that, I'm kind of tapping the table underneath. We've still got a couple days to go. We want to finish strong. We want a good graduation. We want everybody to get out of school successfully on the 3rd, teachers on the 4th. And then one of the things that has come up is, what do we do about next year? Much has been written in the news, and you've certainly seen social media related to what to do for next school year. I'll say openly that my goal as superintendent is to return the school system back to the way it was prior to COVID-19 as soon as possible, with keeping in mind that our top priority will always be the health and safety of our students and staff. So with that in mind, the document in front of you has the following changes that I would like to highlight. One, it condenses the original plan from 38 pages to 7, right? So it's a very much a narrowing of focus on reopening of schools. With the increase in vaccination opportunities for more individuals able to become vaccinated, right now pretty much in the state of Florida, anybody 12 or older could receive a vaccination if they'd like to. I'm going to make my recommendation that face masks for the 21 school year be made optional and not mandatory, beginning June 14th, which is the start of our summer school program. So if you're asking what's magical about June 14th, that gives us the maximum amount of time. And then as summer school begins, a physical summer school, we would go ahead and relieve that mandate. We're still going to encourage it, okay? When I talk about the things that are still in the plan are items related to safety. My goal is to go back to pre-COVID as fast as possible. That doesn't mean tomorrow. That means a phased-in approach, an approach that makes sense, that's based on common sense, and gradually brings us to where we need to be, okay? I greatly appreciate the patience of our community, because I've certainly dealt with, and I know the board has dealt with, people who have voiced their concerns about the use of face coverings in both directions, I might add. And I simply point out to parents when I speak to them on the phone, I say, look, you know, having to take care of my own child is an awesome responsibility. Having to take care of your child is even more of a responsibility and more of a burden, in the sense that the seriousness by which we have to take that charge is pretty serious. And so I'm so glad for our community, that our community understands that they're patient, and they understand that our goal is to bring our school system back as fast as possible, okay? Still keeping in mind that safety is still our top priority, okay? Some other things that you'll notice within that plan is that the One Clay Online option that we had this year, the virtual platform, will not be available next year. Simply put, the state has not funded that option for next school year. In addition, I'd also make a plea to parents out there that the gold standard of education is physical, in-person education with a qualified teacher that cares about your child. I look forward to welcoming those students that are One Clay Online students now back to our school environment. We're going to welcome you with open arms, and we're going to provide you a high-quality, world-class education in Clay County schools. I would say also that we're going to bring a phased approach to bringing back mentors, volunteers, and those kinds of things. We're going to increase those slowly. We're also going to, school field trips will be on a case-by-case basis if you're reading that plan. So the basics would be this. Here's what I'd point out about that plan. One, I think it should be everyone's goal, but it's certainly mine, and I'm hoping the board agrees with this recommendation, and that is we should go back to school as normal as possible. A return to normalcy is what our community strives for us to do. In order to do that, the first and most controversial piece of that is the use of face coverings. I'm going to make the recommendation now that the recommendation will be that they're optional, still recommended. Those that want to wear a mask can feel free and will be protected to wear a mask if they so choose to do that. Those that don't, given the fact that everyone 12 and older has the opportunity to be vaccinated if they so choose to do so, I believe that that makes good common sense. I think it's rational, and I think that one of the things I've tried to do during this whole time was just simply listen to everybody, make good common sense decisions related to the opening of school, and I believe this plan does that. So what are we doing as far as safety goes? Each school will still submit a individualized plan. That plan deals with spacings, it deals with student movements within the school. I think that one of the things that principals learned this year was that some of the things we were forced to do as a result of the pandemic actually turned out to be pretty good practices when it comes to the movement of students within a school, the separating of students. That's kind of an unusual part of what we have done this year. When you think about it, schools are designed to bring people together. Why else would we build a building and then tell everybody and bust them in so that everybody goes to one spot. So, COVID-19, made us spread out a little bit, and that's okay, We're gonna take each situation just using common sense. I'm also gonna make the announcement here this morning that face coverings for graduation ceremonies on Friday will be encouraged, but not mandatory. I think that's within line for what we're seeing. We've seen several people come forward to provide documentation related to this event. We've seen not only our governor come forward, our commissioner of education, our Florida Surgeon General, and others, urging for school districts to make this consideration. While they don't have authority over your decision-making, I think that does bear weight in the decisions that we make, as a board and as a superintendent. Also want to remind folks that next year there still would be contact tracing and quarantining by our health department. I wouldn't anticipate that when we come back in August, and I pray that I'm wrong, but I would anticipate that there would still be people who would in fact become ill, and therefore that would still be a part of what we do, and that's something that the healthcare professionals should do, not a school system, and that's my belief there. Okay, any questions, statements, comments?
I was just at the health department, and they have a sign up. I had to stop by and drop something off that said, face mask in the lobbies encouraged. So I figure if the health department is already doing to that extent. So
I
we
think
should
it's a
be
very good plan, and you staff did a good job, and I'm glad that we're still doing some of the distancing with the directions for the movement of children and staggering the times for arrival. That's all important to help alleviate a little bit of the overcrowding, but I think it's very good.
I have a feeling that a little bit of the distancing in lines in the hallways and things also may have helped with a little bit of classroom management. And Susie keeping her hands off Johnny and whatever. Definite positives. You had mentioned, I was just breezing through this and looking at the cafeteria area and the eating. And here again, I would love to be able to hear from some principals to see if this distancing has helped with the noise level in cafeterias. I'm certain students still talk a lot and have the opportunity to socialize, even though they're sitting on one side of the table versus both sides of the table. And if here again, if the management of the cafeteria was any better or different. I don't know if you guys have heard anything in the trenches or.
One of the things that I'd point out is that one of the things I like about the plan is that each school has an individualized plan. Every school site is slightly different.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And so trying to treat everybody the same just doesn't make sense.
Right.
And so we'll take a look at each one individually. I'm always amazed when I was at Middlebrook High School. If you've been out there, you've seen the tables in the hallway there, and I can't help but think that helps with student discipline and noise level and all those things that improve the environment there at each individual school. So we look forward to this. We look forward to a return to normalcy. I appreciate the patience. I appreciate the support of the board too. If you recall, when we started back after March 13th of 2020 and being out of school, coming back to school was a very controversial thing. If you all remember that, and really, lots of pressure, lots of people giving their voice to it. At the end of the day, we don't want to rest on our laurels by any means. We can take a step back, we can look at what Florida's done, we can look at what Clay County's done, we can have great pride. And now this is the next step. This is what we need to do to kind of get back to where we were. We were all at the athletic event last night, and I certainly meant what I said when I said that Florida leads the nation in the opening of K-12 public education, and I do believe that we're leading that charge in the state of Florida, and so we should take pride in what we've done, not rest on our laurels, but now this is a new phase, and I appreciate the patience of all the parents and all the people have emailed me, and the ones I've gotten back to and the ones I haven't, that's the plan for next year.
Have our numbers changed for next year? I know we were like thinking we were short, there's a lot of kids missing.
Yeah,
Figured out where they are?
there's still students that, we're still down slightly, but I would argue that we're getting students back all the time. I would say that the state of Florida is receiving a population boom right now, and people are moving from all over to the state of Florida because I think Florida recognizes that the opening of schools and the opening of our society and all of that is what people crave, and so people are coming here, and there's no doubt that state government in the state of Florida has done a great job of providing guidance and moving forward, and this board has done a great job in leading the way for a successful opening of school. I tell you, other than wearing the masks when I go to schools and tables in the hallway and, you know, weird stuff like
Arrows
that,
on the floor.
there's real learning that is
Yeah.
going on out there. So I'm interested to see when testing results are released. Probably not till August is what I'm hearing. I'll be interested to see how we fared, and you know, I believe that we'll fare very well. I really believe that, and so not that I'm competitive, but you know, hey, I'm just going to tell you, you know, it's first place or if you're second, you're first loser. So that's just kind of the mentality that we go into it, and I just appreciate the work of the entire team, and we should be very proud of where we are and where we sit right now. Anything else related to this topic?
No, I just wanna say thank you. Good plan.
Okay,
Any other comments?
so we can't start the other meeting for 30 minutes, so I'm
Right.
not really sure if we want to go ahead and do all comments and
Are there
other
any HR
stuff.
this month?
Not yet.
Nothing.
Not yet.
Yeah, you still have a little bit more.
I was gonna ask, Mr. Bickner, do you have anything that you wanted to bring up today?
I'm sorry?
Was there anything that you wanted to bring up today?
Not today. I've been doing what I was tasked to do and, you know, listening specifically to you and to Ms. Gilhousen and Ms. Bullock and Ms. Karakas regarding reviewing where we are with that 102.4 policy, and I'll bring that up. I'll send something out before the next meeting, and we'll bring it up and talk about it at the end of the meeting, during
Okay.
the school board attorney and board comment section. That's agreeable with everyone.
So we'll see it for Thursday.
I'm
This
sorry?
coming, we'll see it on June 3rd, or the next meeting, is what you're saying?
We'll deal, yes,
At
we'll
the
deal with it at the meeting that we're reviewing right now.
Okay,
at the
got
end of the meeting.
Is it going to be an action item at the June 3rd meeting?
No, it's not. I was not asked to create an action item. I was asked to review.
So Madam Chair, I'm not sure if you want to go ahead maybe, and we can't vote on the other item until 10 o'clock is what I'm
Correct,
understanding.
correct.
So I'm not sure if everybody wants to
So-
do board member comments or kind of finish it out so that we can vote at 10
How about
o'clock.
if we do
And
that?
probably
Yeah.
be done by 10 to 5.
Unless there's a lot of discussion for that item. Ms. Bullock, would you like to begin?
Yeah, I can do
or-
that. First of all, young man that got one of the hero awards from Keystone last night, Ethan Touchton. I got a text from his grandmother that he's going to be on News for Jacks tonight at 5, and I mentioned there are gonna be other kids too, maybe. The best and brightest or something like that that are featuring, so I just wanted to say that. John, of course, you did a great job last night, and while I'm in the athletic mode here, the Gators are doing very well in softball. Bailey Goddard,
Yeah.
a former Oak Leaf standout,
I bet so.
is doing very well. She's been in the lineup. They're going to the Super Regionals, which they play today, so I know this meeting's gonna get finished so I can see that game. And then, Savannah Chanel, who was a standout at Keystone several years ago, was on ESPN. She hit a grand slam for the Liberty Flames.
Really?
Unfortunately, they're out of the tournament, but they did win and they beat the Tennessee Volunteers for that particular
Wow.
game. So that
Wow.
was quite an accomplishment. And I don't know who did this, but I have my suspicions, Bonnie, that, I put this, posted that this was one of my favorite things, and miraculously they appeared in my seat here, so I'm very appreciative of whoever did that, and I thank them for that. And I just have a question for Bryce. Bryce, the feasibility study, we're getting toward the end of May now, so have we heard anything yet or not?
They're finishing it up, and
Okay.
we should know something by the end of the week.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it. That's all I have.
Great. Ashley? I'm sorry, Ms. Gilhousen?
I want to say kudos to John as well. That event last night and last week was fantastic. It's a great way to close out the year celebrating kids. Looking forward to graduation on Friday. I'll be at Middleburg High School. And I just want to wish everybody a safe and happy end of the school year, restful summer.
Mrs. Clark?
Pretty much ditto. I told John last night if he wants to start the event with more emotion, not to start with the school board. Recognize the principals and teachers and the coaches. Anyway, it was great fun, and this is a great week with more events. I'm wearing my orange for Orange Park High on Friday, so appreciate it.
Ms. Kirkus?
Yeah, I'd just like to compliment, I already told John, I thought it was wonderful, and I'm really glad, this is probably the third year that we've had it, and it's really a great way to recognize our student athletes. I think we're excited that you did it, and the kids all loved it. You can see the noise level. You can hear the noise level. I am concerned about the policy, Mr. Bickner. I kind of thought that I had asked for consensus in bringing it back so we could change it. And I understand by reviewing it this month, we then vote next month, and it just prolongs it another month, but that wasn't my intent in what I asked. I was asking for it to be brought back to be changed, which I should have used the word action and make it an action item, and I didn't. I understand it's gonna be postponed, but that's not what I thought we were doing. I thought you were bringing it back so we could then take action on it.
When I restated at the end of the meeting what my hearing was and what I understood my task was, I was corrected in my task first by Ms. Gilhousen, and also by Ms. Bullock, that it was to review and not to bring back something to act on, to change policy, because they wanted to review. And if I'm incorrect in that, I would say somebody needs to go and listen to the minutes or listen to the recording, because Ms. Gilhousen specifically said, review. She didn't want to.
I did go back and listen to the recording.
Ms. Gilhousen did say, why don't we just change that one word, which I totally agreed with, so.
I heard that as well, but I heard review.
Right,
So,
because, and as I recall, Mr. Bickner said, I need consensus from the board that we're going to change this policy. And at that stage, we said, wait a minute, and that's when Ms. Gilhousen said, I think we should review the policy before we actually change the policy. And I dittoed that with Ms.
That's just
Gilhousen.
past practice. And
Right.
anytime we've done policy
Right.
review, if we're gonna change something, we decide that at the review. So that was my thinking.
And I was
wasn't
thinking we'd
determined.
be reviewing it at this agenda review and
Okay.
voting on it next week. That was my thought process. So it's postponed a month, I understand that. My other thing, I just spoke to Ms. Ellis about it. When we first talked about the going out for sales tax and a half-cent increase, that was, 2 years ago now? One of the things that I pointed out at our meeting was the welding room at Orange Park High School. The ceiling is hanging out, the insulation is hanging down. And I don't know if any of you have been in there and seen it, but it's not been repaired. And I just asked Ms. Ellis, and she said, it's not even on the schedule until into next year. And I kind of feel like that's a safety hazard because they're welding in there. You know, the ceiling should, and I'm not saying replace the entire thing, but at least put new panels in to cover up the insulation that's hanging out.
Yeah, I think certainly if there's a safety issue,
That needs to
that
be
would trump
addressed.
other
And please,
projects.
please look at that. I've had multiple phone calls about it
Yeah.
from the teacher, and we need to look at it. So, other than that, I'll be at Clay High, and I ditto everything you've said about graduations in this exciting time of year. It's like this is, the big event that it all leads up to, and It's a lot of fun.
Mhm.
So if I could just add something, I'm
Sure.
gonna go out on a limb and say that John Scarmolo is the best coordinator of district athletics we've ever had. I just wanted to point that out for the record.
Sort of like I have the best, yeah.
Sorry, John, I just had to do it.
I think he's blushing.
Yes, you are blushing, that's so cute.
For the record, he's the only coordinator.
He's the only coordinator we've had. In case Mr. Wingate's watching, you just clarified that.
I
which
did,
is
I want to get in
good.
trouble with Mr. Wingate on that one.
I have nothing more to add than all the kudos to you. That was awesome. I have a question. Was the music playing throughout the event last Monday, a week ago?
It was, we just improved the timing a little bit.
And the
Yeah.
volume a little bit?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
it
yeah.
definitely pumped it up
We
last
made some
night.
big adjustments, so
It was
we were
great.
happy to have a second opportunity at it.
It was great. And
felt like I was
it's
at a
always good to
hockey
learn
game.
from it, you know, that's awesome.
Are you ready for this?
Both of the hosts were awesome.
Yes.
So
yeah.
continue, I mean, whatever we can do to thank them and tell them, encourage their continued participation with us was really, really
For
awesome.
sure, for sure. Thank you to the board for attending. I mean, there was a lot of comments from student athletes and their parents about how awesome was the whole board was there. So it really does mean a lot when you guys all show up. It's fantastic. So
It's great
appreciate
seeing
it.
them.
Appreciate it.
Anytime we can see those students, and this is the only unfortunate thing about this particular board meeting. We only have 2 students or 3 students that we're going to be recognizing at the beginning. So we're not gonna have people lining the walls and.
I think with it being the last day for students, I think you'd be hard pressed to get people to come to that meeting.
We'll get to see
Absolutely.
a lot of them at graduation.
I think there'll
We
be
get
a lot
to,
of,
I'm gonna get lots of hugs.
there'll be a lot of excitement, just not in the boardroom.
Inhale it for the summer, you know, so it takes care of us throughout the summer. Looking forward to Oakleaf and another class that's graduating from 5th grade that I just, it gets so exciting when you see them walk across that stage and the culmination of everything they've accomplished and knowing that when they first started, you know, they were little pipsqueaks and well, I shouldn't say that, but 5th grade, they're still shorter than me and generally at graduation, I'm shaking a lot of hands looking up, but looking forward to that. And on that note, we're going to.
I have one other thing, I'm
Go
sorry.
right
I
ahead,
apologize.
please.
I didn't mean to leave you out, Mr. Sweat. I think you have a daughter playing softball as well, is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes, and where's she at? Tell me again.
She's at West Florida.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I've seen several posts and so congratulations to her as well. Sounds like she's having a great season too. And while you guys are at graduation at 8, mine starts at 7 and I'll be through thinking about y'all. So,
What are you doing?
we're at 7, the only one, so.
So Keystone, Ridgeview is who's doing Ridgeview?
Mr. Daly, I believe.
Awesome, cool beans, great. And it was interesting talking with the Ridgeview folks last night and comparing the Coliseum with doing it in the field, basically, but, yeah, some needs for the field if we continue to do that as well. It would be, I mean, I went to a pre-K graduation, and it was, you know, you think, whatever, but they had it at Lake Mary High School's auditorium, and I walked in, and I was just blown away. I thought, auditorium?
Yeah.
And my daughter was going, well, if you think this is good, Lake Brantley's is like twice this size, and I was just like, I sure would like to see. Bryce, could you get on that and, you know, give us an auditorium that we could use for all the high schools? But that's really an awesome facility, so. Anyway, on that note, we're going to close the workshop, and we will then reconvene at 10 o'clock, which is in 19 minutes.